guest has not arrived yet, so I thought I will go live and share some tips with you which can help your business. So, one of the common questions that I have always been asked is how do you enter a market which is saturated, and how do you use the power of digital channels to make an impact? Because in the olden days, when you were thinking about marketing, you were always looking at newspapers and magazines and TV and all of that. And now, with the digital era, the metaverse era, with the generative AI era, it has become much more focused. And at the same time, it has also become much more competitive. So you just can't start running campaigns and hope to make it successful. You always end up with a low ROI on campaigns. And that is because people typically tend to run two types of campaigns. One is you have an always on or a brand campaign running on, which is trying to create brand awareness. And secondly, you have tactical campaigns, which can be based on your price, about your newness, about your product features, or something which is happening in your industry, and so forth. So these are the two types of campaigns that people typically run, and both might prove to be ineffective if you are in a very, very saturated market. So, for example, if you are running a generic e-commerce store and you are trying to compete with the more established players, you kind of know that it is very tough to do that, simply because the established players already have gained traction. They have their database, they have large email lists. So it is next to impossible to go and compete with them and try to grab market share. And this is especially because the digital advertising landscape is controlled by a few companies. As everyone knows, you have the search engines and you have the large social media sites. So you have to be on these same channels to compete for the same um, eyeballs to get your clicks and your conversions. So it is kind of an uphill task to do that. But at the same time, where you can start to be different from others is by positioning yourself in a very unique way. So if you have a unique value proposition and you have studied your market sophistication well, and this is something which I keep on telling about market sophistication. So I guess people have now become kind of bored with market sophistication, but unfortunately, that is where things are. And without actually having a deep knowledge of your market and your customers and your business trends, you're probably entering a very weird and untested waters. And is this why 90% of businesses which start that they don't see their first birthday? Could be. And looking at market sophistication is extremely important, because that will help you to create a blue ocean around your product or service and move away from a red ocean. Now, the blue ocean and red ocean concepts have been around with us for a long time. And sometimes people, when they hear of this, they feel that, okay, we know this. But the fact that you know it doesn't nullify that, right? We have all been hearing about the four P's. So, does that change anything? Um, the fact that we know that doesn't make it boring and doesn't make it outdated. It's still very relevant. So the blue ocean and red ocean are much more relevant in today's domain, especially with the metaverse, alternative, with the digital twins, and you have the immersive experience and all of that coming up on one side, and on the other side you have generative AI, which is helping you to collect data, sort data, and to make a personalized experience happen much more rapidly. So these two factors are pushing the marketer uh, towards all going in one direction, and you might get trampled upon. So you're having a stampede, and small players will always get trampled upon in this kind of marketing stampedes. And the only way you can kind of stay apart is by having a very, very strong value proposition. And how do you do that? You do that by looking at your market sophistication, trying to look at what your competitors are doing, what is the market opportunity, and how you can position yourself correctly. Now, recently, one skincare brand came to us with advice on entering the e-commerce market, and we did the typical e-commerce study of looking at the total addressable markets. We were looking at the competition. We were looking at different subsegments. We were looking at the bestsellers. We were looking at the search volume. We were looking at the review. We were looking at the top sales figures on e-commerce channels and all of that. So we did everything which a normal company does. But what we did much more deeply is look at the market sophistication, and we came to a conclusion it's going to be very difficult for them with their limited budgets to enter that market. So they had to devise a vehicle, a marketing device, which was not from the skincare industry, it was from another industry. So, stepping out from the skincare industry, leaning into marketing vehicles outside of that industry, and then flanking the beauty industry for using lateral marketing is what is going to make them very successful. So with limited budgets, they are going to take over the market because they have kind of positioned themselves in a very, very unique way. So that is where modern marketing is headed, especially in this era of the metaverse and generative AI, where everyone has tools that makes you in a power of position. So a small agency can now compete with a large agency because you have the same skill sets, the same tools, you have the same kind of data, and you have all the firepower to make it happen. Uh, so when small agencies become just as powerful as large agencies, suddenly everyone is on a level playing field, and everyone is trying to compete for the consumers' time and attention. And so marketing is going to become much more complex, much more difficult, much more challenging. At the same time, it's going to be much more interesting. So for smart players who wish to compete in the marketplace and, and make things happen, it is going to be very, very interesting. Um, a very interesting time. And in our channels, I'll be interviewing a series of experts who can give you great ideas on how to tackle the market. So today's speaker didn't show up, so that's fine. Hope this session has been interesting for you, and we'll catch up tomorrow, same time. And by the way, if you wish to be on this channel, just say hi below, and I'll contact you, and then we can have an interview. See you. Bye.